Sorry, we're here with the YMCA Long Island, one of the region's largest and most diverse camps. It's a great place to build friendships, engage in physical activity in a safe and healthy environment for your kids. It offers everything from aquatics to athletics to camp traditions and special activities, as well as learning. So there's really something for everyone. Today, we're joined by Dan Weir. Hi, Dan, I think you're muted, and Brittany, you're muted. Dan develops all the camp programming for the YMCA Long Island. Welcome. And hi, Brittany. Brittany is the Health and Wellness Director at the Patchogue location. Thank you very much for joining us today, and we're looking forward to hearing about the camp.
Great. Well, thank you for having us. Brittany's going to lead us in our demo in a few minutes, but before we get to that point, I'm going to speak to you about camp. So I'm just going to share my screen, so bear with me for 2 seconds. And we're excited today to get the chance to speak to the Mommy Poppins audience. So for us, the YMCA means so many things to so many different people. But in terms of today, we're really talking about the health and wellness components that play into camp when we talk about health and wellness. We're talking about youth, social responsibility and how that plays in youth development. And of course, we're talking about youth development in terms of summer camp. And those are really the deliverables known for the Y. When we talk about the Y itself, we're located across several different locations across Long Island. But really, when you think about it, it's 5 different neighborhoods. So for us, that means Glen Cove, Huntington, our Bayshore area, Patchogue, and East Hampton. Those are really what we're known for when it comes to camp. And when we think about camp, camp means so many different things to so many different people, right? Camp can mean, the Parent Trap movie. Camp could be a music album, right? It could be a band. For us, when we talk about camp, we really talk about 2 aspects that's been missing from youth development from this past year. So one of the things I'll talk a lot about is my children. And on top of being with the Y of Long Island for quite some time now, top of working with camp for over 2 decades, I'm also a camp parent. I have a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old. And when I look at the past year of this pandemic, I really look at there's 2 aspects that they really missed out on. And as we have them going to school again, that they're not getting in the same way that camp can provide. And those 2 aspects are social emotional learning through building friendships, and then the whole aspect of gaining new skills through trying new things, right? So when we talk about school, right, they've been building on the academics that they've known from years past, but it's not the same as getting to go swimming for the first time or learning a new skill when you swim. And with kids as early as even 2, we could see their confidence raise as they gain competency. So when kids come to camp and when they are actually getting a chance to learn how to swim and they're hearing they're doing a great job from someone else besides their parent, right? When they hear positive feedback from somebody outside their family, we see their confidence rise in a way that just isn't possible and outside of camp. So that is a really core component of what we do. And then the other component we touched upon is building friendships. And even with mask wearing that has to happen from time to time, we are still able to see people smile and make friends that they'll have for a lifetime. And that's really what camp is about. So I've been working in the camp industry for quite some time. I work with the American Camp Association. I work with camps across New York State. And when we talk about the core components of what a camp experience is and why people recommend their kids going to camp, it really boils down to these 2 factors. So that's what we're going to talk about today when we talk about our camp programs. And then Brittany's going to join us and talk a little bit about health and wellness and how it plays in the camp, and it's particularly about warming up, right, in terms of activities. And we're excited to be with you today. So as we go through this slideshow, if you have any questions, please utilize the chat box. If you have anything that you want to ask, you can definitely unmute yourself towards the end, but for the sake of this and keeping it going, the chat box is perfect. You can message me directly and I'll work in the question into how I'm talking, or you could ask publicly and we'll make sure to cover it as well too. But just know that there's no question that's off limits. And often with camp, if you have a question, someone else has a question as well too. And as a camp parent, I want you to know that our goal is to build trust with you. Our goal is to make sure that you feel like you understand what camp is about, not just the child, but also the parent or whoever is taking care of the child in the child's life. But that's really our goal today is to have a good conversation, make sure you feel like you have a good understanding, and we'll add some fun in there as well too with Brittany's element in just a few minutes. So here's our agenda. We're going to go over our locations, which we kind of touched upon. We're going to talk about activities offered, our camp divisions. So basically, how do we divide our groups up, some partnerships. We'll talk about the counselor and training program. We'll talk about some things we have in development. We'll spend a little bit of time on COVID because we know that is a topic on top of people's mind. And just know that in terms of offering program, we had a successful summer last summer, meaning that we had no cases of COVID. In terms of working with people, we've actually been working with people this entire time through the pandemic. So we offered emergency childcare last year. Immediately upon the state closing, we worked directly with the governor's office. We provided day camp last summer. We've been providing childcare in terms of preschool and school-age childcare all year long. So we'll definitely spend some time talking about COVID towards the end. We'll talk a little bit about financial information and some resources for families. But again, any question that you have, feel free to put it in the chat box. Feel free to ask me directly. Feel free to put it there publicly, and we'll work that into this as well too. But that's really it. But before we go any further, just so you get a good taste of camp, we want to show you our camp video. It's about a minute long. It really covers the aspects that we're referencing before, and I think it speaks well to just the fun kids are going to have this summer. So I'm going to hit play right now. It's about a minute long, and again, feel free to use the chat box as we go forward. So here we go.
Kids need camp now more than ever. At the YMCA Summer Day Camp, children can dream, discover, and grow. They explore their creative side, splash and swim, shoot hoops, and learn all summer long. They have fun, make friends, build confidence, and belong. The YMCA has a summer day camp for every child, from preschoolers and youth to preteen and teens, and specialty camps like sports and CIT programs. Our camp is structured around the Y's core values of caring, honesty, respect, and responsibility. Our trained staff help campers reach their full potential physically, mentally, and emotionally. If a camper can dream it, they can do it at the Y Summer Day Camp. We have redesigned our camp programs to meet New York State and local safety guidelines. New for 2021, 2-week sessions from June 28th to August 20th, and Camp Rocks Week from August 23rd to August 27th. Discounts available through April 30th, 2021. Virtual open houses and camp tours by appointment. Visit us online for details. Register now.
Great. So with that show, I'm going to put the link in the chat box in case you want to show your kids as well too. I know for a lot of children, being able to build a mental model of what camp looks like is a huge component of success, meaning that if a child can picture what it's going to be like in a day, they will have a higher success rate. You'll have a happier first day when that child comes home. So I highly encourage you to use YouTube. There's a ton of stuff on YouTube, but that's the YouTube link for our camp video. So let's talk a little bit about what that means in terms of camp. So we offer 4 sessions that are 2 weeks long. So basically Monday through Friday. We do not have camp on the weekends for our day camp. And then at the end of the summer, we offer Camp Rocks Week, which is really a best of. So we take all the great elements that we had during the summer. This is a program created for children that, where the parent really can't get off of work. And this is a really perfect program to kind of capstone the camp session, the full summer. But these 2-week long sessions offer a variety of activity, which we'll get into in a few seconds. But this is the core group that you're going to be with. So when you come to camp, you're actually going to be with the same group the entire time. Right now, New York hasn't given us the regulations for this upcoming summer, so we'll be adjusting that as we get closer to the summer. But our groups are 15 kids and 2 staff, depending on the age. If the age is a little bit higher, a little bit younger, it'll be closer to 1-to-6 ratio, which we'll talk about in just a few seconds. The hours are from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And we know for a number of families that they definitely need this as a way to watch children when they're at work. So we do offer before and after care. That's at an affordable rate as well. So 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. And just know that we're able to keep program going. And for a lot of families where there's either a single household or 2 working parents, this is really an aspect that people choose the Y for, is that we're able to keep the fun and camp going at all times. We also have transportation available, which we'll talk about in a few seconds. But yeah, in terms of programming, you'll find this consistent throughout all of our 5 neighborhoods that we're in, that we were talking earlier with our locations. So when you're at any of these locations, that is the hours that's the session dates. And when we talk about programming, which we're going to jump to right now, we're consistent across the island as well too. So in terms of camp programming, I mean, I think the largest aspect to know is that the camp as a whole is really built on youth development, healthy living, social responsibility. And we try to do that through our programming and everything that we do. So when we talk about aquatics, we talk about the responsibility that comes with water, right? But we also do it in a fun way where everyone gets to swim. And when we talk about aquatics and when we're using aquatics, the nice thing about the Y is that we're a year-round operation. So we have our seasoned summer staff that come in every year. We also have our aquatic staff that are with us year long. So our aquatics membership directors have been with us for quite some time. This really allows for us to make sure that we're keeping things at a very high standard. When we talk about some of the activities that we offer, athletics, we have Brittany as a resource, for example. We have coaches, we have for instance, soccer going on right now at one of our locations. So we're able to operate in a way that's just different than other facilities. We also work in adventure. We have some zip lines at a few of our locations. We have rock climbing walls at all of our locations. We're able to offer STEAM, so that's science in an engaging way. And as you can see, Lego is actually part of a way of engaging through science. We have camp traditions, like color wars, everything that you would think of in terms of an activity-based camp tradition really works in well. And then special events. So we do bring in people from time to time to lead activities. For some of our older kids, we do go on trips, but we really make sure that the program is tailorized towards your child's age. So when a child's coming to camp, they're going to be with kids their age. We group kids by their age. They're with their staff in those groups, and that's what we'll talk about in a few minutes. And they do activities together in that base. So that means that when we're dealing with science-based programming, it's very appropriate for a first grader, or it's very appropriate for a fifth grader. There's not mixing in that. We really try to make sure that the programming is matching where the child's development is at. So ends up being a great time. And as you can see, we're able to adapt a lot of the activities based off of the COVID-19 as well too, and work with those regulations. So before we go any further, we know you've been sitting and listening for a little bit. I'm going to introduce Brittany. So we heard at the top, we heard Brittany, who is our health and wellness director for our Patchlog location. And she's going to do a bit of a demo for us on warming up for activities. So I'm going to stop my share and turn it over to her. And feel free to put questions in the chat box this meantime, and we'll get back to you in just a few seconds with the presentation. So take it away, Brittany.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Brittany. So now this is where you and your kids can get involved. So I'm going to ask everybody if you'd like to be involved just to stand on up. We're going to get our body all moving here. So it's so important that we warm up for anything that we're going to do, right? Especially if we're going to play any sports or get ready for our camp games here. Think about your muscles like a rubber band, right? We don't want them cold when we go to start any kind of exercise. So right now, I want everybody to take your feet out wide, your arms out, and just give me little arm circles forward. So let's warm up our shoulders here. Now let's make ourselves nice and big, like a big star. And let's reach our opposite hand to our opposite foot all the way down. So here we are warming up our body, getting ourselves ready to play games, to play sports. Now we're gonna have even more fun. I want you to take your feet and run as fast as you can. So in place, can you go a little bit faster? All right, give me a little bit more, as fast as you can. And stop. Now, I'm gonna have you bring your feet out wide and in as fast as you can. Ready, set, go. So all out, bring your feet out wide and then in. All right, can you take it a little bit faster again? Here we go. Good, 3 more seconds. 2 and 1, come on in. Deep breath in and let it out. Now, we're gonna do a little bit more fun here. We're gonna do some jumping jacks. So you're gonna make your body look like a star and then jump back in nice and small. So bring it out and in. Keep your arms nice and straight and your legs nice and straight. All right, can you go for 5 more seconds? 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now let's give our knees a big hug. Take your right knee, hug it in towards your chest, and let's switch sides. Ready? Hug your knee all the way in towards your body. And one more time on the other side. Come on down. Now, we're going to do just a few more fun exercises here. Take a look at my legs. We're going to do what's called a scissor jump. You're going to alternate which leg comes in front. Ready? So let's jump. Bringing one leg in front, one leg behind. All right, keep going. All right, can you widen your legs a little bit more? Excellent. Ready? And come on down. So the purpose of our warm-up, we just want to get our heart rate going, our blood flowing to all of our extremities. It's super important that we always warm up before any activity that we do. So thank you, Dan. I'm going to turn it back to you.
Great. Oh, that was fantastic, Brittany. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, and that's the nice thing. Again, we talked about a little bit before, but the Y itself has a deep roster when it comes to leading programming. We're able to draw on Brittany's expertise. We're able to draw on our aquatic staff expertise. We're really able to have a team that is well-rounded and also champions of their topics. And the other thing that that you should notice is that Brittany was in a well-lit, well-spaced room. Our facilities are just like that across the island. So in terms of camp programming, when it rains or it's thundering and lightning, we're able to move indoors and we're able to be in spacious rooms that in terms of COVID, we're able to really adapt programming and to be operate in a safe way. So just keep that in mind as well too. But again, thank you to Brittany, and hopefully that keeps you moving for the next 25 minutes as we make our way through the show. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to switch paces again. We're going to start talking about camp divisions. I imagine for a lot of the people on this call that this is more your first time coming to camp. So I'll spend a little more time on kiddie and youth camp, but I will definitely talk about preteen, teen, sports, and counselors in training. And just know that the nice thing about camp is that you could be coming for quite some time, and you can actually grow up to become a staff member. And that's where we see some of the nicest things that happen with camp, is that people will grow up in there and progress from all the way from kiddie camp to our counselors in training, and then hopefully one day become our staff as well too. So that's our intent with the way we interact with your child, the way we interact with your family, is that we hope that you're with us for quite some time. So let's talk a little bit about kiddie and youth, since I know that is a lot of our first time families and probably the majority of the people that are on this call today. So for kiddie and youth camp, they are really in terms of age-centric groups, meaning that our 3 to 5 year olds are with 3 to 5 year olds. So it's really 3 to 4, 4 to 5 when we start bringing up those groups. We do youth camp. It's first graders, second graders. We try to have everybody grouped in within at least 18 months of each other, if not closer. And the nice thing is with the amount of people we serve, we're usually able to achieve that pretty easily. And then when we talk about programming, it's really a mix of physical and creative activities. So as you see, right, we know our stuff when it comes to physical activity. We know how to do things safely in terms of structured play and making sure that when we're playing soccer, we're playing it around robin style, so everyone's engaged, no one's sitting out. But also when we're doing imaginative play, we're really engaging in all the child's senses. We're really letting them to just be a kid. And, going back to what's going on in school right now, that's kind of the part that's missing. When I talked to my 5-year-old about how her day in pre-K was, it's very structured. It's not a lot of imaginative play. And that's the beauty of what we offer at camp, is that we can really offer imaginative play. You've already seen some of our specialized instruction. We also hire other people to do exactly what we were talking about earlier, which is, science-based classes or our sports-based classes, or talking about doing the rock wall. We have the indoor facilities when necessary. We do mix the groups in terms of gender. So just know our goal is to serve all, and we are able to work things out in terms of when there is anything regarding gender as well too, and making sure that we're accommodating every child and every family that's coming to camp. And then just a big thing is for our youngest kids, they must be potty trained. Just the camp day is a very active day. Accidents do happen, and our staff are great with handling that. But for a day-to-day basis, we do need them to come in potty trained. If you're looking for more of a child case program, where your child's not potty trained, we actually do offer that at many of our locations, again, across the island as we talk about it, but it's different than camp. Part of camp is being with your group and being on the move and being on the go. And while our campus is off a little bit different, each location, being potty trained is an important component of it. We definitely take bathroom breaks though. So, but yeah, those are all core components of what's going on. In terms of the chat, I'm just gonna make sure I can see it. So I'm gonna move it over just a second. Feel free to use the chat if you have questions as well as we go forward. This is, we want to make sure that you feel like you have an opportunity to get a chance to ask everything that you need to ask. Switching paces, we're going to switch over to our preteen and teen camp. So again, age appropriate groups. So preteen is 5th to 7th grade. Teen camp is 8th to 9th grade. Those are entering those grades. So that's why you're entering September 2021, right? Mixture of activities. This is where we really start working in leadership skills. So that's that character building. The Y is really based on character building. So there's 4 values that every Y in the country has, which is honesty, respect, responsibility, and caring. And we infuse those into our programming and really start talking about what character building is. The specialized instruction, again, Brittany, for instance, who is able to work with our youngest kids, teaches fitness classes all the way through adult age, and we're able to really tailorize it based on what the child's development is about. Indoor activities, as we mentioned, and then the other component of it is our offsite trips. So we're working on that right now. We are waiting on the regulations from the state, but we do anticipate being able to take some offsite trips. So that's everything from going to the local painting studio in Bayshore to if the Long Island Ducks are playing a game this summer and we're able to have a socially distant cohort go, that would be fantastic. The biggest thing for us is that we've had a great track record with COVID-19. We've been able to manage it really well and mitigate the risk really well. So anywhere that we're considering for a trip needs to be able to meet that same standard for us. And that's why it's still in development. But as soon as we get the rules from New York State, and as we watch COVID go down in certain neighborhoods on Long Island, that is going to play huge factors into what trips we go into and how we're doing that. So that's why it's in development, and we'll certainly follow up with you if you choose to register with us on that component. So those are really the two main programs. When we talk about our other specialized programs, sports plays a huge role, as we talked about earlier. And what we do. So age appropriate groups for sports. The sports is really a sampler, a little bit of everything. So what that means is that we are not going to play soccer every single day for those 2 weeks. Instead, we're going to play soccer for a few days, work in different drills, work in different rules, play with a giant ball, play with a normal size ball, really work in different aspects of the sport. And we'll do that across the board in terms of it. Sports camp does get to go swimming. That is often a question we hear. So just know that they do get to go, and we do consider aquatics a core component of what we're doing. But outside of that, it's pretty much focused on sports all day. So if your child likes a little bit more of a sampler, the youth camp, the kiddie camp, the preteen, and the teen camper is a little bit more fit. If your child's sports all the time and really that's their focus, this is really the program for you. But again, age appropriate groups, making sure that we're keeping within the developmental year or a year and a half when we're talking about this, making sure we're participating in sports in a way that's safe, but also fun, and developing your muscles and developing programming as well too. So, and then we do have some offsite trips that we do with this. And of course that's in development, like I mentioned earlier with the Long Island Ducks game. So that's it for sports camp. Again, feel free to use the chat box for questions. When we talk about our counselor and training program, this is what we hope to see all of our campers that come to camp grow up to be. So we really view that some of our marquee staff that we had over the years grew up through our counselor and training program. I know when I went to camp, I actually went through the counselor and training program, and it was one of the changing experiences for myself. So the biggest factor is that we are looking for people that want to be a camp counselor one day. So if you're looking for your last year at camp, that really is this teen program that we're talking about. If you're looking to work with children one day, that's what really this counselor and training program is about. So we're trying to grow people into becoming our summer staff for summer 2022. We're doing everything from putting you through the counselor training that we use for our own staff to being mentored and having sessions with our staff, talking about first aid and CPR, which is, again, a hallmark of the Y, college and career readiness, life skills, all these different aspects. And it's a 4-week program. And just know that we really cherish those people, and they get a lot of time to work with children in what we do. And we think that's one of the best parts about camp, is that you could see young leaders rise up. And so that's a core component for what we do. We're going to switch paces a little bit. We're going to talk about partnerships, and we'll talk about some things in development, and then we'll talk about COVID-19, and we'll be all wrapped up. So we have about 15 minutes together left. So in terms of partnerships, we touched upon some of these before, but just know that the Y is about serving all. So when we talk about that, we need partners to really develop our programming and partners to really help us truly serve all. So one of our partners is the Liam Foundation. That allows for our Great South Bay location to serve people with developmental or intellectual disabilities. So what that means is that we're able to have additional staffing, additional trainings, and some of those trainings we actually translate to all of our locations as well. But for our Bayshore location, we work specifically with the Liam Foundation to make sure that every child could come to camp. If you have any questions about that, you can feel free to reach out to us directly, and we can link you up with the Liam Foundation, and that allows for us to serve everyone. And then the PSE&G Foundation allows for us to do that science-based programming. They provide funding for us. They allow for us to basically have a higher level of science programming as well. And then the Rouch Foundation, which has been a strong supporter for many programs across Long Island, they really allow for us to develop programming that is combating summer learning loss. So when we talk about summer learning loss, it's not just about reading, it's actually about engaging your brain. And the more your brain is engaged, that actually is a way of combating summer learning loss. So for instance, I wrote my master's thesis on unplugging and how when you have a device in front of you, it's not really the same in terms of interacting with your brain. And really being at camp allows for your brain to interact in ways that engage social emotional learning, as well as combat summer learning loss in the Rouch Foundation. That's why it's such a key aspect of what we do. So that's it for partnerships. Talking a little bit further in development, we've talked a little bit before, but just to reiterate, offsite trips for preteen and teens, we are waiting on some regulations from New York State, just like every camp that's licensed in New York State is. And we will, as soon as we have those regulations, we'll know if our partners and people that we go and visit are able to accommodate in the same tone and manner. And just know, again, that we're going to hold them to a high standard in terms of mitigating COVID-19. Transportation's in development right now. We're actually just getting registration open for it. And again, we have to wait for some regulations from New York. We do feel confident, though, in saying that we will be offering transportation this summer. And for many of our locations, the registration's already up and going. And then our last component that's in development right now is My Hot Lunchbox, which is a service provider we work with for lunch. This is really for families on the go. And so basically you're able to book lunch through My Hot Lunchbox's website. It goes to local vendors that we have relationships with. So for instance, if you're in the Bayshore area, it works with the local pizzeria for Bayshore. And then that pizza comes to our destination, our location the next day, and we hand it out to the kids. And it's already pre-packaged in single serving size, meaning that in terms of food safety, it's held to a very high standard. And it's a nice option. You know, the menu items range anywhere from a few dollars to $15. Definitely for some families, they feel it's more affordable to send their kids to camp with lunch. But for some families that are on the go or have a busy life schedule or just want their child to have a hot meal, My Home Lunchbox is a terrific option and something that we have a tremendous relationship with and have used in the past. So that will be available for families this summer. Just know that for us, we definitely hold everything to a high standard and in terms of how we handle things and how we grade things in terms of making sure that's making ROI quality in terms of programming. So I'm going to switch paces again and talk about COVID-19. And for us, this topic is something that I think for a lot of people over the year, they've grown a little bit more comfortable with. If their child's been going to school, you're often familiar with some of the things I'm about to cover, but just know that we've been working with people throughout this entire time. So to tell you a story, last year, the state, it was about a year and a month ago at this point, right? The state shut down completely. And the governor's office actually came to us and said, we need somebody to provide childcare for essential workers, meaning for first responders, for some of our local hospitals. Would you be interested in doing that? And we worked directly with the Office of Children and Family Services, directly with the governor's office, directly with the Department of Health to craft a programming as in March when we were at the height and things were really going on in terms of COVID-19. And we've been able to provide care since that day. So we provided emergency childcare. We're able to adapt our programming for the summer. We're able to provide childcare for 1,100 children on a daily basis. So that means we have 1,100 children across Long Island that are either in preschool or school-age childcare. We have additional kids coming for swim lessons or coming for soccer practice. So we feel very comfortable in terms of mitigating COVID-19 and have very few issues to deal with. In terms of it, again, we talked about having a successful summer last summer. We had 0 cases of COVID-19. The few that we've had over the year, we've had no community spread. And so we feel very good about what we're offering. I'm going to put 2 links in the chat box right now for you in case you need further information. One's a link to our camp updates. So basically, that's where we'll update as we get more information about COVID-19. And as we all know, things are constantly evolving. For instance, President Biden today said that if you're vaccinated, mask use isn't as needed outdoors. So that might change how New York looks at things. And we'll keep families updated as that develops for us. We have to wait for the regulation to come down from our regulatory agencies, right? And then we also put in there was the child care policy that we're enacting right now, just to give you a good taste of what we're doing. But we're going to walk you through just a few of those and then open up the floor for questions. So basically, we do daily screenings of campers and staff. For instance, I went to 2 locations today. I went to our Glen Clove location and our Huntington location. My temperature was taken at both locations. I was both asked how it was felt at both locations, right? So we're really making sure we're staying in tune with people's health. We have set cohorts, as I mentioned earlier, so that a group of 15 kids at maximum with 2 staff, they really get to know each other. And we also, we all become linked, basically, meaning that if something's going on in that child's life, that can affect the other kids in there. So that really prevents spread, but also make sure to add something in terms of accountability that we are linked and looking out for each other. And it's really led for a great success in terms of not having community spread. 2 additional techniques and things to cover. One is just we use mitigation techniques. So these mitigation techniques are straight from the CDC. So we will do a lot of hand washing. We also have hand sanitizer in certain locations. Any hand sanitizer we use is also very friendly for children. We will clean and disinfect surfaces frequently. Just know when we talk about disinfectant, your child's never touching disinfectant. That is on our staff. We have a great facility staff. Our program staff will fill the gaps. We also use electrostatic cleaners. Some of our facility directors look like they're in Ghostbusters where they're spraying this mist. It's the same tool that they'll use on the New York City subways, but allows for the area to stay clean further. And so that is something that's really key for our success. I mentioned earlier, we're screening people. So if you have a cough or a sneeze, you're not even coming to camp, we're turning you away. We do use face coverings at certain points in time, but that might change as New York State's and the country's mindset's changing on that. And we'll talk about face coverings in a few seconds. That's also known as a mask. And again, just doing our best to really practice social distance. So we've been able to adapt a lot of our activities to make sure that people can feel very comfortable at camp. So what that means is that we're able to figure out how to play soccer in a way that can promote social distance rather than hinder it. So we've become very good at that and really looking at what we're offering and how we're offering it. And in terms of face masks and coverings, again, we don't know what the policy will be yet for this upcoming summer because we're waiting on New York State, but we can cover what we did last summer. So our youngest kids, our kiddie campers, our 3 and 4-year-olds, they're not wearing masks unless they're coming to camp with them. We do encourage mask use, but that's not required. With our youth and preteen and teen and sports campers, so basically 5 and up, they are wearing masks when they're less than 6 feet apart. Or when we go indoors. So if we're playing a game, again, we'll try to play it so that we're less than 6 feet apart. And then when we go indoors, that's a core component. And both those are built into New York State law as well, too. So we know that some guidance came out today from the CDC and from the federal government. If that changes in New York State, we'll definitely address it. And then for staff, it's during drop off and arrival, just in case there's anything going on with your own family, with the people dropping off, when we're less than 6 feet apart, and then when we go indoors. And even though this might sound simple, these simple mitigation techniques and wearing face coverings really were able to keep kids safe last summer. And as the situation develops with COVID-19 in our areas, and as we're watching numbers continue to drop, I'm sure that this is something we'll continue to review and keep in good contact with you. So we're going to switch paces again to financial information. But again, if you have any questions, feel free to use the chat box as we come to the end of our time together. So in terms of financial information, our goal is to make sure that camp is affordable for all. We try to do that in several different ways. The first is that we offer a payment plan. So if you registered today, you could actually pay monthly. So you pay a deposit today, you would pay May 1st, June 1st, and July 1st, and your payment would be finished up then. So that is something that we do try to do our best to make sure that is available for families. Membership is required. So if you're not currently a member of the Y, that's okay. There is a youth program membership. That's a $95 charge. It's a one-time fee, and that will be added to your account. But we do ask for you to be a member of the Y. When in terms of really looking out for families, you'll find our refund policy extremely generous. So in terms of cancellation, you have up until 8 business days to get a full refund if we cancel. So what that means is if it's about 2 weeks out from the program and you're worried about COVID-19, or you have to change things because of work or life, or you're going to go on a vacation, you can have up to 2 weeks beforehand to cancel in full and get a full refund. 2 weeks gives us enough of a runway to figure out and to adapt our programming. After the 2-week part, though, we do not offer a refund. And just know that that's because we have to just get ready with staffing and all the supplies that we need. And then if we cancel a session for some reason, you'll receive a full refund, including deposit. But just know that our registration has been going very well. We're actually at the cusp of filling up some of our programming. So we do not anticipate on canceling any of our program this summer. But if there happen to be a situation, just know that we would give you a full refund. And know that's where we really tried to do right by our families. Discounts, this is actually perfect timing for a presentation because you have a few days until our discounts end. So you can see 5% for 6 weeks or longer, 10% for 8 weeks or longer. And we do offer a sibling discount, one time for each sibling of $50. And on top of that at all, we do offer financial assistance. So financial assistance is available. Again, it's our goal to make sure that every person can afford camp and that we're truly for all. Basically, you would download our financial assistance application from our website, and you would just submit it to whatever branch you're applying for, and we handle it on a case-by-case basis. We do ask for evidence that you are in need, but just know that we do our best to really be there for families to make sure a camp is a place for all children. So that's it in terms of financial information. So we can cover some resources, and if you have any other questions, feel free to use the chat box, and we'll wrap up our time together. So in terms of resources for families, just making sure that you have the ability to schedule a tour. Again, you being able to see the facility, your child being able to see the facility really helps you understand what the camp day is going to be like. It really helps the child feel comfortable when they go to the pool for the first time with their group. All those aspects are really key components for camp. I recommend no matter what camp you're considering this summer, whether it's a YMCA camp or another camp day, you actually visit it and you actually get a chance to see it. We offer family orientations. So just know that means that about 2 weeks leading up, we will have a group orientation via Zoom, just like this, to make sure you understand and feel good about our policies. During the camp experience, we want to make sure that you feel very comfortable and understand what's going on. So we have frequent communication. We use a texting service. We'll email a lot. You also always have the ability to stop your car after you do drop off or you're picking up, and catch up with our staff as well too. But just know that we really view the camp as a whole experience, meaning for the whole family. And so we want to make sure that you feel like you're understanding what's going on. I know for my own 2 kids, I'd pick them up from day camp, and they'd often be asleep before I even left the parking lot. I get them home, they would eat, they'd be groggy, they wake up the next morning ready, excited to go to camp, and I wouldn't have an idea of what happened in the camp day. And just know that that is something that we really try to make sure that we're there for you and that you understand what's going on. And of course, we'll send stuff home like schedules and the other activities listings that we're doing. But if you feel like you need more communication, we're always here for you. And then afterwards, we solicit your feedback and make sure registration is available. So that's key components of what we do. And just know that as a whole, we know sending your kid to sending your child to a camp can be nerve-wracking, and trusting anybody with your child is a lot. And just know that we're here for you as we talk about this as well. So that's pretty much all the information. I know I probably talked a little bit fast. I'm going to put my information in here. This is my actual email address, so you can get me through this email address as well too. But just know that we are here for you, and we want you to feel good about coming to camp this summer. And if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat box. But other than that, it's been a pleasure getting to spend time with you, and know that we really take a lot of pride in providing a camp experience. And not only in the sense of the 3 deliverables we talked about earlier with healthy living, social responsibility, youth development, but just being able to be there for a family, and especially in this time as we all kind of heal from this pandemic. Camp can be a wonderful place for people. So that's really all I have. Laura, anything else that you want
Yes,
to touch
first,
on?
I just wanted to ask Dan, what's the best call to action if people would like to sign up? Should they go right to your website? Is there a specific section for that?
Yep. So when you go to the website, you can't miss it. It's just says camp right on the top of the website. So it's ymca.org. So I will put the camp updates. It was this link here. I'll put that in the chat box right now. So for everybody. But this web page, you can get to it right from going to ymcl.org.
Thank you so much, Dan and Brittany. That was a wonderful presentation. I want to go to your camp now. So, but thank you very much.